compliment of the season to you all, our Camnet viewer. This is the Breakfast Show, a show that comes to your screens every morning from 07 hours to 09 hours, where we discuss a lot of important things happening around in our country in terms of community, in terms of politics, in terms of economic matters, policy issues, sports. Everything is discussed on Camnet TV. For those who've been watching us wherever you do, we appreciate your viewership. Without you, they cannot be Camnet TV. We appreciate your viewership for keeping us company all the time we appear on your screen. This is a festive season, a season of love, a season of giving. I hope this festive season we have been able to bless someone with something. Sometimes it does not necessarily mean if you have to bless something, then you have to do a lot or spend a lot of money and stuff like that. No, sometimes even maybe just going to a hospital and offering your service to say, today I want to help clean the institution. It is a service that shows love, because when a sick person goes to a clean environment, definitely they'll feel more motivated. Have you actually observed that if you go to a clinic and you find it is in a bad state, you usually tend to feel so sick because the environment is not welcoming? So this is a month of love. Let's continue to show love to one another. Let's continue to give where it is possible. There are a lot of orphanages where you can go and just spend time with those kids. Try to offer them your love and your support, because they really need that. A lot of people around in our community, the aged and everyone needs to be showed love. This is a month, of course, where we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. So this morning, I am your host, Prudence Chota, and we will have quite a wonderful time between now and 09 hours, where we will be discussing a lot of important aspects happening around in our country. Then also for those watching us, it can be you're watching us on your platform, in the comfort of your home, or on your gadget, you're going for work, or you're already in the office and you want to follow what is happening around. Of course, let's get to interact. You can also send us those messages via our Facebook page. You can also text those messages, but you can also call and make your submissions and contributions. Maybe perhaps this morning you can shout out to your loved one. Call Camnet TV and just mention your loved one. Say festive season message to them. Just call them, tell them to tune to Camnet TV, and then surprise them with that message to say, I only called because I wanted to appreciate so and so, or I wanted to send a message to a loved one. This is a time where we give you an opportunity as Camnet TV. We are also giving you an opportunity to call and shout out to your loved ones this morning. Send them that wonderful festive season message to encourage them even as they go to 2023. I know 2022 has been quite an interesting year. Remember, it has also been the first year of the United Party for National Development, UPND, administration in office, and we've already started counting down to 2026. So we are hopeful to see a lot that they'll have to offer in 2023 to wow the viewer and, of course, convince them to place that vote on the UPND in 2026. So before we say much, we also care about your health. That's why we bring you this exercising segment where you can exercise along with us. If you cannot do this when we are live on show in the morning, probably because you've traveled for work, or you've traveled out of the country, or you are traveling to another city, or maybe you've already gone for work, you can also exercise along with us in the evenings when you knock off before going for bed, because this program is being streamed live on our Facebook page. Meaning when you knock off, you go back home and you go to this particular segment, you'll be able to see this exercising segment where you can exercise along. Remember, a healthy nation relies on its healthy people. We want you to remain healthy. That's why we bring you this health segment. So let's go, of course, into the morning boost just to exercise. So exercise along with us, because I will be exercising in the background. Trust me, I will be doing that. So let's go into our morning boost.
Hello guys, it's another great edition. So today I'm going to take you in cardio here at Chozi Fitness in Kablonga in conjunction with the Camnet TV. Let's go, let's do cardio together. We go. Okay, get ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're skipping for a minute. Let's go. Let's go. For a minute, keep going. Two, one, and cut. From here we punch. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. 20 seconds. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and cut. Next one, we're stepping up. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Forty seconds. 30 seconds, let's go. Twenty. 50 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and cut. Okay guys, I hope you've enjoyed. Next time.
There you have it. I hope you have exercised along with us this morning. If you're not able to, you can still do it in the evening, but do not go to bed without having to exercise. Exercising is very important. Usually when we used to grow up, we used to think as if exercising is only for those who are wealthy, because that's the mind that we had, to say those who go to the gym are only those who've got money and they can afford. But that's not the case anymore. Even if you don't have that money, we bring the gym straight in your house if you exercise along with us on this breakfast show. That's why we bring you that segment. You don't necessarily have to go to the gym, but it is important. Please do not misquote me. It is important for you to go to these places and exercise. But if you're not able to, that's why we bring you this segment on Camnet TV, where you can exercise along with us in order for you to be very fit. We want a healthy nation. That's why we want you a healthy people. Speaking about that, even this morning, we are going to go to look at the doctor's corner. What is it that the doctors have for us in terms of the health segment? We've done exercising, but now we need to also go and look at the medical part. What is it that the doctors are talking about this morning? Let's go to the doctor's corner.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to today's segment of the Health Corner on Camnet Breakfast Show. So I am Dr. Nakuya Namfaya, and in today's topic we are going to discuss how does one get cholera. Yesterday we talked about what cholera is, and we say that cholera is an acute diarrheal disease that is caused by a bacteria called Vibrio cholerae. So how does one get this infection? So this infection is spread through fecal-oral routes. So what does that mean? It means that when somebody gets to eat food or drink water that has been contaminated by the bacteria, that is when they will have cholera. So this means that people who have cholera should be able to get treatment to prevent them from shedding the bacteria in their feces to contaminate the environment and contaminate other foods and water. So cholera can affect people of all age groups, whether young and old. It can affect children, it can affect adults, it can affect older people, it can affect anyone. And also cholera, so when one gets the bacteria from the food that they have eaten or from drinking contaminated water, it can take about 12 hours to 5 days for one to start having symptoms of cholera. And sometimes it might take longer in other people, sometimes it might take only 12 hours. So it's important that people get help and get treatment as soon as they discover that they have a diarrheal disease. So today we are learning that cholera is caused by a bacteria, and this bacteria is gotten from eating food and drinking water that is contaminated. So try as much as possible to treat your water and wash your food before you eat it. So tomorrow we'll discuss further on the symptoms of cholera, and in the subsequent days we'll discuss how to treat and how to prevent cholera. So stay tuned to the breakfast show and learn more about cholera. Thank you so much for watching.
Cholera, a very important topic there. We ignore sometimes a lot of factors that lead to the outbreak of cholera in our homes. Even simple issues that we can prevent, such as covering the food whenever we leave it unattended to, is very important, but we just ignore. And flies that have been sitting there. That fly that just came directly from a picture tin in your home, and you know flies have got those small air, well, I don't know what to call them, bags. So just directly from a picture tin sits on that particular food, and the child just comes, picks up the food and begins to eat. This is what causes cholera. So cholera can actually be prevented. It is a preventable disease if at all you do what is required, and that's why we bring you this segment of the Doctor's Corner, where they just explain some of the things that they do in order to help us prevent the spread of certain diseases such as cholera. It can actually be prevented. You can prevent cholera. Remember, once you have this particular disease, even the chances of survival are very minimal. Do not risk your life. Life is very precious. Life is a gift that has to be guided jealously. So we can do that if at all we follow the instructions and whatever the doctors are telling us. Remember to cover the food. Remember to boil your drinking water. Sometimes it's not necessarily that the water is not treated from where it's coming from, but remember the process of it reaching your home. might mean somewhere your water may be contaminated. Chlorinate it if you can't boil that drinking water to prevent typhoid, to prevent cholera. Very important teachings that the doctors are giving us this morning. We now go and look at what is happening in our economy. I know the depreciation of the Zambian local currency has been quite a topical issue. Remember, when the UPND administration came into office, we did see our local currency perform quite well, but it has been depreciating in this month of December. And of course, we did speak to the Bank of Zambia Governor, Dr. Denny Kalyadia, who explained what factors are leading to the depreciation of the Zambian kwacha. I think we did air this in our news some 2 weeks ago, and he gave an explanation of why this has been the case. So we are going to look at the money market. How is it that our local currency is performing against other major convertibles? There you have it, foreign exchange for today, the Tuesday 27th of December 2022 at 0704. It was the Zambian kwacha against the US dollar buying at 17 kwacha 75 ngwe and selling at 18 kwacha 10 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the Great British Pound was buying at 21 kwacha 35 ngwe and is selling at 21 kwacha 77 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the euro there is buying at 18 kwacha 85 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 19 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 04 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 06 ngwe. That is the money market for this morning. Remember that the local currency, that is the kwacha, usually is a currency that was not performing quite better in the few past years, and ensuring that we have a stable currency is what we should be thriving at this particular time. We did see stability for about 8 months in the year 2022, but that has not been maintained. And of course, the Bank of Zambia Governor, Dr. Denny Kalyadia, did mention that this is been as a result of Zambia really being an import-dependent country. We do import more from other countries. So what is happening is that this festive season, there is so much demand for goods from outside. So what is happening is we keep taking our resources out. And then you realize that usually we export metal and stuff like that. And during this festive season, companies have closed. So as a result, you will realize that we are not actually exporting, but what we are just doing is we keep importing, and the demand for goods have gone high because of this festive season. The governor did also speak to the fact that a lot of potential investors are still holding on to their resources. They've failed to invest in the country because the debt restructuring issue has not reached its conclusion. This is a very important aspect in the Zambian economy, the debt restructuring. Once the creditors come to an agreement, investors will be certain of what they should do with their investments. So at this particular time, the debt restructuring issue, unfortunately, we've closed 2022 and it has not come to an end. And when the UPND government came into power, they hoped by April of 2022 that issue would be sorted. But this is now December and we are going into 2023. We are still not certain what the future is with regards to the debt restructuring issue. So the governor says some investors, of course, are holding on to resources. They are scared of investing because they don't know what the outcome of the debt restructuring issue will be. Maybe we can also take this opportunity to appeal to our creditors to please consider what the government has brought on the table so that we can see the Zambian economy improve. A lot of people are being affected by the high cost of living. And of course, that is one topical issue that needs to be dealt with by the UPND administration, even as they look to restructure the debt to improve the Zambian economy. So we wish them all the best, even as they govern. Remember, if the UPND administration fails, the whole country has failed, because everyone will be affected. If they succeed, every one of us succeeds along with them. So in as much as we play politics, remember that we only have one Zambia, one nation. If our country improves, we equally improve. If our country goes down, we equally get affected. So let's protect our Zambia and the assets that we have, because there's only one Zambia, one nation, nothing more, nothing less. On a sad note, on Christmas, as people were enjoying their Christmas, a woman from Lusaka's Plainview area was electrocuted. This was as a result of illegal electricity connection. Illegal electricity connection, I think, has continued to be a topical issue. Even if you have a cantemba in the front of your home or whatever, if it is not connected by ZESCO, you decide to tap from your home and use your own initiative or knowledge of the little things that you know about electricity, you are risking a life. That should not be a case. This was a sad state because the woman who's actually died was looking after 2 of her children, but she can no longer do that because she was electrocuted, and this could have been avoided. I feel emotional speaking about this because this is a particular incident that could have been avoided, but someone did not play their cards well. So what am I talking about? We are going to zoom into that story that made headline in our news yesterday, and let's get to interact. What is your comment with regards to that? So let's zoom into the story that made headline. These residents of Plainview area in Lusaka West were left in shock after a 35-year-old woman identified as Alice Nyambe got electrocuted in the early evenings of Sunday, 25th December 2022, while trying to answer the call of nature. According to an eyewitness, Miss Nyambe, enjoying a Christmas in the company of her friends at this bar, decided to answer the call of nature in this corner where she met a fate after this wire cable electrocuted her. Godson Kawilila, a brother-in-law to the deceased, explains that there was negligence by the owner of the shop who illegally connected electricity from his shop to a makeshift store outside, but that the live electric cables were not well attended to.
Tivutana tabala tadabo chat short time mutetinari naye aleka kuoneka ine kufunza uta nanga muzanga ali kuti hapa kudabo chapa TV ni short time bakamba kuti uyu muntu kuli muntu kumbuyo kwa mene agwiriwa na malaiti kwenda kuchekenga pesa storage muntu anayuma kudara. So chamene tipempa chabe tipempa bazesco vazipitamu kuona kuti nanga connection amene vachita connection maraiti mashop ili bwanje, because there is no way muntu achose ntambo kuchoka mushop kuenda connecta kuntemba, which is wrong.
And the family to the deceased is however not happy in the manner in which their relative has died, and have since demanded that the owner of the business compensates them for the loss, adding that the woman has left behind 2 children who have nowhere to go.
A family ya mene Asia isestinga kwanisi kuichita panji kuisunga wamene wanakonekta malaiti aya tingankhale nawo pamozi timvere mwamene wazakambira vangasunge vana nango government ingatitandizeko musungira vana. So nchamene ninga kambeko ini winango alina 12 years, winango alina 6 years.
Meanwhile, others have described the late Alice Nyambe as a good Samaritan who will be greatly missed by our community.
Vegetables, tomato, onion. She was a very good lady. Tizaba missing, nankala touched. In fire, I mean, fascina wami nokupangono ya.
This sister omozi wamene zotisunga isekuni. Eze muntu mozi wose kana banzake oruni wasikana bankali bakuru bankali bangono. But chame china chidabwisa che mairo. Tilinaye pamozi. Tichoke mkati tubwere kuno. Timbera chati muntu wanu ayuma. So ilipo problem oni hapa connection ya malaiti nenda lengeza kuti uyu muntu atisiye.
And police deputy spokesperson Danny Mwale has confirmed the development to Camnet News and says an inquiry file has been opened and the body of the deceased has been deposited at the University Teaching Hospital mortuary awaiting post-mortem and burial. May her soul rest in peace. Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News. Alice Nyambe there lost a life in a circumstance that could have been avoided. So let's get to hear what you have to say over illegal electricity connection. What has been your experience? So she was, of course, enjoying a Christmas in the company of many of her friends. They were taking some alcohol and stuff like that. Then she decided, let me answer the call of nature. And knowing to say where she was going, there was actually a wire that was coming from the top wharfings. And that wire was not what was containing electricity. It was because someone decided to tap electricity from their shop into a makeshift store outside. And then that live cable was made to pass through the top of the wires on a wharfing. So what that does is that because there's live, the wire is live, everything connected to it, as long as it is wire, becomes live. So it is unfortunate that Miss Nyambe died in this case. It could have been maybe children, you know, when kids are playing around and they are running and stuff like that. The incidents could have actually been so disastrous if children were involved. But it's unfortunate that she equally lost her life in a circumstance that could have been avoided. And then there was also an appeal there from members of the community to ZESCO to say, can you please be going around and checking what is happening, because there is a lot of illegal electricity connection that is happening around. Please do not risk a life by illegally connecting electricity. A lot of these incidents, I remember just a few months ago, we covered an incident similar to this where a child actually got electrocuted because he stepped on a live wire, and that was also as a result of illegal electricity connection. Amalaite, yakani, let's avoid illegally tapping electricity because we are risking a life. Now, 2 children have remained orphaned and have no one to look after them because someone decided to be careless. This is a very sad incident. Talking about ZESCO, in Kawe yesterday, an incident happened where a home got goods burnt worth of thousands of kwacha, and the family has been left stranded. Now the family blames ZESCO for that, saying it was as a result of power cut, and when the power came back, it came with a lot of currency that led to some electric appliances bursting off, and that was fire. That is a very sad incident. Perhaps maybe I've seen a lot of complaints around this particular topic, where in Ellen Kaunda a few weeks ago we covered an incident where a lot of household goods worth millions of kwacha were destroyed after power was cut in the night and it came back. And among them, bulbs. You know, most of the time in the night when we're sleeping, we do leave the bulbs on, especially those outside. So bulbs and those who left electric appliances on the adapter and stuff like that, everything got blown off because of that. And of course, they did, of course, appeal to ZESCO to compensate them for that. When we called ZESCO, of course, they knew about the issue, but they could not give further information and details. So what am I talking about? This happened in Cabo yesterday. Let's get to sympathize with the family as we get to show you this.
Fire, as in the early hours of this morning, destroyed property worth millions of kwacha at house number 19 in Luangwa Township, Godesha Street, a property of a 64-year-old widow, Rachel Tembo. All the furniture, including electronic appliances, have been burnt to ashes. Some of the electronic appliances which have been reduced to ashes include plasma TV sets, refrigerators, home theater sound system, and this 4-plate cooker. The granddaughter to the owner of the house, Patience Tembo, smashed the window to create an exit for her 64-year-old grandmother.
The windows were all closed, so we decided to break one of the windows, and in my confused state, I wasn't able to notice anything I could use to break the window, and I used my hand, so I injured it. Then I managed to break the window and call for help.
A family member, Mrs. Gift Tembo, demands for a compensation from the utility company ZESCO for the loss incurred.
Mom has, this is the only property that Mom has, and Mom she's a widow. Tababomba. So at least in those areas, at least
another family member, Loti Tembo, says the cause of fire was the power surge. He says his mother had a huge blasting shortly after power was restored.
This whole issue with ZESCO because of their power surges. Normally in Luangwa, they're just short power surges. Within 20-30 minutes, power is back. But the way it comes with power, with full force. Because if you even look at the bulbs, the way, that's why they were saying the bulb, that's why Mom said the bulbs blasted first. Next, it was a spark from the TP. And if you look, even the wiring is showing that the power was going through all the pipelines. That's why it was just too fast, because of ZESCO power surge. And normally, when you complain to ZESCO always want to run away from their faults. So I'm also appealing to the headquarters in Lusaka to kindly look into this situation and compensate us, please.
Ward Development Committee WDC Chairperson Louis Katontoka says ZESCO needs to compensate the widow.
This is the widow we're talking about. She's a widow, the woman. I mean, she needs the support from ZESCO, from the government. I'm appealing to the government to step in, as Bali, our president, Bali will step in to help the Tembo family fix this. As we can see now, they don't have where to sleep.
Petronella Msangulule, Camnet TV News in Kabwe, Central Province.
There you have it, Miss Tembo there, was of course a widow yesterday, lost everything she's owned in an inferno. And this has been blamed on the power utility company, saying when power was restored, it led to that. Maybe perhaps for those who are watching, what has been your experience so far with ZESCO's power cut? I know a lot of people have actually complained over this issue. We've received quite a number of them. And I mentioned earlier that even in Kaunda, this just happened a few weeks ago, where a lot of household goods were destroyed. So who should be held accountable and responsible for the damages that are being done through strong currency that comes with power cuts sometimes? Who is it that is to blame? Is it ZESCO? Or is it us, the users? Because remember, when power cuts, they usually advise to say, ensure that you switch off all your electric appliance to ensure that when power is restored, you don't get to be caught up in this, because this usually happens. But others usually argue to say sometimes you will realize that people had switched off everything, but maybe when it comes back, there is a short circuit somewhere and it leads to this. And then ZESCO has also argued to say sometimes when you are engaging this electrician to do your wiring in the house, ensure that you go to professionally trained electrician. And like you just go to anyone, because they might do shoddy works, and this usually has been causing a lot of houses catching fire. I think I saw one argument in a case where someone sued ZESCO, and that's the explanation they gave to say the people who did the wiring for the house did not do a professional job. So that was not our part as ZESCO, but the part of the user. Such a sad incident there. We hope the relevant authorities will move in to quickly help the family. DMMU, if you're watching this, you need to come in and help that particular family. They have been left with nothing to use and of course to look at, because what they invested and worked so hard for has been reduced to ashes in a matter of minutes. A sad incident there. We sympathize with the family. We are also going to move into another segment where we are going to invite our guests to settle in so that we get to interact. Now remember, the issue of the CDF, that is Constituency Development Fund, has been topical and has been, of course, discussed widely on different media platforms. Others have argued that this particular CDF has not lived according to its expectation, but others have actually benefited from the same CDF and are doing wonders and great things. I think we did air some of the success stories that have come as a result of CDF. So this morning, we will be talking to Chakunkula Ward 23 Councillor Chimuka Njomona on Camnet TV to discuss how the absorption of CDF has been in his constituency. But before we go to that, yesterday we did also interview Mr. Njomona on some of the things that they're doing and the developmental projects that they've done so far in his constituency. So let's play this clip to appreciate and understand what we are talking about this morning.
Construction of projects under the Constituency Development Fund CDF in Lusaka's Monali constituency have reached an advanced stage following the flagging off of the project by the area member of Parliament Mike Imposha in August this year. Chakunkula Ward is one such area that has seen projects such as the rehabilitation of this Irish hybrid road reach an advanced stage. The rehabilitation of this road has, however, come with its own challenges, such as motorists now overspeeding on this road, endangering the lives of many children, which has seen one person be hit on this road.
pakakona apo pachaswali mwana wasa kana ngwezo bwana opita manga yafupi asanga pite so apa mamoto kayapita kuno bwino
tikuti akasema tuziko mapitilize mwanzi ndikonza malodi atikumbukireko na manzi amativuta kuno kwakamanga manzi vakazikoma vapresidenti vatu vane vagwira ntchito vagwira bwino vapitilize chabe.
Meanwhile, Chakunkola Ward 23 Councillor Chimuka Njomona has warned motorists using this road to be cautious of other road users, adding that anyone who will endanger a life will face the law.
This is a key road, not only for Chakunkola community, but also motorists and those that use the Great East Road. This is an alternative road which can also help to decongest the Great East Road. Now, we've improved this road, and our caution goes to the motorist, because already we've seen people cruising and they are using this as a running track. Now we want to speak to the motorists to give courtesy to other road users and to make sure that we drive with care, because this is right in the community, right in the compound.
For others, this drainage has been seen as a dump site for waste, which has angered the area councillor.
Illegal dumping of garbage. We've already started seeing people filling up these drainage with garbage. I mean, who can do such a thing? So my appeal is to the community to let's work together, let's care for these infrastructures. The moment we start blocking this drainage, it's not us who are going, it's not the councillor, it's not the president, it's not the MP who's going to be affected. You are the people that reside in this area. So if we watch people dumping this garbage and we remain quiet, we are killing ourselves.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Camnet Stars Football Club, popularly known as the local national team, is inviting all skillfully gifted, talented and creative soccer players from across Zambia. Ages between 16 and 20 must come, train and join the club. The category of these gifted footballers have the chance to go and market their talent in Europe and USA through Camnet Stars Football Club, a team formed with a vision to produce quality international players. Please do not miss this brief open opportunity given to you. Camnet Stars Football Club could be your gateway to your international soccer career. Venue, Kablonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Date 12th December 2022 to 21st January 2023. Time 09 hours to 11 hours. Your time to shine is now.
Good news, the rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generational wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each, and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours, Monday to Friday, at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to Camnet TV. This is a breakfast show, a show that comes to your screen every day from Monday to Saturday from 07 hours to 09 hours, where we discuss a lot of important topical issues. So before we went on a break, we were zooming into some of the stories that made headline in our news yesterday. Remember, a 35-year-old woman died after being electrocuted in Lusaka. This was as a result of negligence by those who illegally connected electricity. It has now led to the death of a woman who's left behind 2 children who have no one to look after them. Let's be responsible by ensuring we do the right thing. Do not illegally connect electricity. It might be good for you, but it might risk a life. This is a very dangerous act that we should not go. Let's not take that route. Let's do the right thing, apply to ZESCO, and of course they will come and connect your makeshift or maybe your store to electricity in the right way. We also zoomed into one of the stories that made headline yesterday, where a house in Kabwe yesterday got, where properties worth millions of kwacha got destroyed in an inferno, and the family has blamed ZESCO for that because they say it was as a result of strong currency after power was restored, and they are demanding for compensation. Remember, this is a home of a widow and she has nowhere to go, she has nowhere to look to because she's no longer working. Those were our investment, but they've been reduced to ashes. Let's take responsibility, ensure that when power is cut in your home, you switch off all electric appliances to avoid such. Be on the lookout, especially this rain season. We know there's a lot of power cuts that has been happening. We also zoomed into one of the stories that made headline yesterday, and that is from Chakunkula Ward 37 here in Lusaka's Monali constituency, where we did speak to the Councillor Chimukan Jomona, on how the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, is being absorbed so far in his constituency. I know a lot of people have argued that CDF, it's a scam. We've not seen anything and benefited anything from it. So yesterday we did go to actually see what has been done so far in Chakunkula Ward. So just to get to discuss how this is being implemented, we are joined in studio today by the area councillor for Chakunkula Ward 37, Chimukan Jomona. Sir, good morning.
Good morning, Prudence, good morning, everyone.
It's actually good to have you on set today.
I'm humbled to be here, and it's my pleasure.
Okay.
And Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas
prosperous 2023.
How has been your 2022 like? I know it is the first year for the UPND into office. So how has it been like 2022 before we move to 2023 and the plans that you have so far?
So far, so good, I would say. I'm glad that the president set a tone, and this tone is work after work, and ours is to work for the people. And this is why we were ushered into office to deliver on the aspirations of the electorates, and these are the communities where we are from. Yes.
Chakunkula Ward, this morning, if you're joining us on Camnet TV, let's get to hear what you have to say to your area councillor, Chimukan Jomona. We have him in studio today, and we are discussing a lot of developmental aspects that are happening in that Ward 37. So if you're watching us, you can call and make those contributions. Our councillor, if he says something that is not true, challenge him and say, councillor, that point you've given us is actually not true, because in my area, my constituency, we've seen nothing actually happen. So we are discussing the absorption of the CDF 25.7 million kwacha that was allocated to each constituency. Chakunkula Ward actually benefited from that, and I remember when the area member of Parliament, Mike Mposha, who is also the Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, was flagging off the implementation of this. He did mention quite a number of projects that will be worked on, among them roads, drainages, and of course a lot of other aspects, including women, youths benefiting from CDF, the education sector, even for those to benefit on the skills and bursaries. So all that we will discuss this morning. Going to 2023, Councillor, I know you have a lot of aspirations in your ward, of course, which you will have to wow your voters this morning to convince them that, of course, you are working to ensure that things happen. Let's first talk a little bit about 2022 and the absorption of the Constituency Development Fund, specifically in your ward. What so far projects have you worked on in your constituency that we can say successfully completed, or others that are still pending?
Okay. I think the first thing that I would want to make clear is the political will by the New Dawn government, who have not shunned into enacting such policies that are intended to help, especially the least in these communities and across the nation. This is a milestone, and I know towards the build-up to elections and all that, people regarded CDF as a myth. And of course, even when we talk about the policies of free education, I think these are things people watered down. But I'm glad that today we have seen, and it's no longer something that is in secrecy. Everywhere you go, there's free education, and we are glad that even those children in our community who were unable to access education, today everyone is in school. However, that comes with its own challenges, but we've been equal to the task, and I can assure you that with all the benefits that are enshrined in the CDF, we will be able to meet the demands and the expectations of our community and nation at large. Yes.
Some of the projects that you've so far done in your constituency under CDF, so that people don't say, I can't say that free education. He's just talking about free education. We want to see in the year 2022, what projects have they actually done in his constituency. So let's talk about some of the projects that you've done in your constituency. In terms of roads, which roads have so far been worked on? Okay. In terms of beneficiaries on CDF, yes, like the women, how many have benefited?
Yes.
The youth, how many have you sent to school?
Yes.
So let's get to hear what you've done in your constituency so that people don't say, CDF has nothing to show off.
Okay, so with the CDF, basically we need to understand the scope. And it doesn't start from our office. The intention is actually to empower the locals. And we start by engaging, and we do have zonal meetings. And you should understand that in these constituencies and wards, we have different zones. These are zones that target a selected or community. And this community will come together, identify projects or challenges within their locality and be able to submit. Remember, we've been saying this, that this time around, it's no longer Boma Yanganepo. It's the community themselves to identify these projects and submit to government and say, this is what we want to see or to have to be developed in our community. So these are projects that have come from the communities themselves. So it's the community who are running these projects. And just to answer your question, we have, under the 2022 budget, we received a good number of roads. But you agree with me that implementation has been a challenge, especially that this has been a new kind, I would call it, where we had to do a lot of sensitization and among the technocrats, and of course the wards development committees. These are committees that are given responsibility to handle all these processes. Now, talking of the projects, just recent we saw where our Honorable MP flagged off the projects in Munali constituency, and we are glad that the ceremony was done right in our ward, Chakunkula, and immediately we were on the ground to do the roads. And one key road that we've done, it's a road that has been in existence for more than 20 years. And no previous government cared to develop this road. I'm glad that the New Dawn government is a listening government, and together with the community, we've been able to reform that road. And today, if I saw it on news, where now it has come with its own challenges, and this is what development is all about. We just heard that a child was bashed. Why? Because the motorists are excited with this new development, and it's now passable. And we've gone ahead to do drainage system. We believe that with this drainage, it will enhance the lifespan of this infrastructure that we are putting across. And also, I want to take this opportunity to appeal to the relevant authority that possibly we can go ahead and an extra mile to tar this road, because it's the key road that will help to decongest the Great East Road. It's unfortunate that every morning, every evening, it's difficult for people to drive through the Great East Road because it's so congested. And if this road is paid attention to, I think it will really mitigate the problem that we've witnessed in the recent past, where Great East Road becomes so difficult to access. So we are glad that this is one of the projects that we've done. I may also wish to mention that under the projects, we've also done desks. Remember, when we are talking about these developments, they come with its own challenges. And free education, of course, it's one area that we'll not ignore, because it has brought in challenges of shortage of desks and also classroom space. And we are equal to the task, as Area alluded to. And we have also used these challenges to help our own local businesses. And talk of the carpenters, these are opportunities for our youths to showcase and to tap into these empowerment projects and programs. And we are saying all these projects should be done by the locals, because these CDF funds are meant for the local people, for the local themselves to identify projects and to do these projects themselves. So we are glad that this CDF, it's no longer a scam, but people are there to experience and also to benefit from it. Yes.
Of course, you've mentioned desks. How many desks has your constituency benefited? Because if we go to some of these classrooms, we will realize that not even one desk has yet hit the schools. So how many of those desks have you so far done in your constituency? And when are we likely to see them hit these classrooms?
I will not be accurate with the exact dates, but I can assure you that I'm preview to the approvals of these desks that have been, like I said, it's a process, and we have the CDF committee.
Okay, let me hold you a little bit, Councillor, first before we go on. I think we've got a caller. Hello, good morning. Hello? Hello, good morning. We've lost that caller. I don't know, my technician, if everything is okay with our phone line. Everything is okay, so just call us back. We will be able to pick your call. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that. We've lost you as a caller. We appreciate your viewership, and we'll give you an opportunity, of course, to call. We will pick that call. So call us back, and we will give you a chance to either make a submission, a contribution, or a question on this platform. Chimukan Jomona is the councillor for Chakunkula Ward 37 here in Lusaka's Monali constituency, and we are discussing the absorption of the CDF in his constituency. What projects so far have they done in 2022, even as we move to 2023, to show that CDF is actually not a scam but real? So the councillor was speaking to the road that they've done in the area, and now is moving on to tell us how many desks they've done in his constituency, because so far schools have not yet received those. So Councillor, in your ward, you've of course mentioned the issue of desk and stuff like that. Let's get to know, how many have you received? If not yet, in 2023, how many are we expecting that your constituency should actually have to cushion the challenges that come with accommodating our pupils?
Okay. Yes. So like I was explaining, we have an approval, and I'm very much preview that we have approved. And possibly it's the slowness of the process. And like I said, we are targeting at our local youths or businesses that are centered in our ward to take up these projects to do the desks and be able to supply to the schools that are in need of these desks. Now, away from CDF, we have also used our office to lobby for support from other stakeholders and cooperating partners within the ward. And we have one organization that has come on board, and just a few weeks ago, we were invited to a ceremony where they were donating desks to Chakunkula Combined School right in Chakunkula. So it's a challenge that calls on not only on government, but also on stakeholders that are in the position to facilitate or to help meet up or to cushion on government efforts. And I'm glad that we are receiving calls. We've had meetings with other cooperating partners. And if you went to Chakunkula Combined Secondary School, they will give you a report that they did receive desks that were donated. And I'll tell you that, of course, we are in the evening of 2022, and most of these projects, I'm sure, they should be implemented come first quarter of 2023. And this is a problem that we've had. If you look at 2022 on the implementation, I think this has been a climb, not only with the community, but of course with government itself. Monies have been released, but you find that the process handled by the technocrats has not really helped our intentions. So we'll ask for support and patience, knowing that these processes will be attained in no time.
I know a lot has been talked about when it comes to cooperatives.
Yes.
Cooperatives, Councillor.
Yes.
I know a lot of people were assured that go and form cooperatives and monies will be hitting your account when you apply. I know that your constituency did receive quite a number of applications under CDF. In your ward, how many cooperatives have so far benefited from CDF? And those projects, how many have actually started being implemented? And are you monitoring the process as a councillor in your area? Are you monitoring some of these projects?
Thank you so much. Talking of the cooperatives, I will tell you that the build-up has been a challenge because this was a new thing to our people. In the past governments, we never experienced inclusiveness. Perhaps it was just done to a few groupings or a few people that would benefit from the CDF. But now we are seeing the goodwill of this government who have opened doors, and we've not left anyone behind. So during the build-up to educating and sensitizing our members of public to form up cooperatives, of course there were those that had first challenges because they didn't know how to form up, talk of businesses, entities that should be registered under PACRA or relevant authorities. So it was muddled with a lot of challenges, but I'm glad that we had received about over 50 applications, but there is a guideline in the CDF Act where if one has to qualify to receive grants or loans, there are requirements that has to be met. And most of these cooperatives, because it was new, they fall off short of those requirements. But we did not want to throw them away. We gave them a chance to redo things that they were things that were not done, of course, to meet the required criteria. Now, from the application that we got, we had about 22 that were shortlisted, and out of 22, only 11 had met the standards. That is having a bank account, having a certificate, proposal, and of course representation and traceable of members in that cooperative. And these ones submitted and confirmed with their bank accounts, and I'm sure by now everyone has received the grants. For the loans, we are still in the process. Like we said, there's been a delayment in the process, but we, as of 2 weeks ago, we closed and received all applications, and I think it's overwhelming, and people have received monies. And not talking about the empowerment alone, because CDF, it's full of many components, and these components are targeted mostly to the youths and women in these communities. And what we are saying is, do not hear to the critics that are giving false information that CDF is a scam. And most of them, this is when they've realized to say, banzatu watenga na drum. Banzatu watenga na drum. And now they are coming to our offices to make noise. Give us money, bring the cooperatives, have you registered? So this is an ongoing process, and I'm glad that those that have received will keep an eye and to encourage them, because the intention is not just to receive the monies and misuse that money. What we want is people's lives to change. And it can only change if those monies that are being received are put to good use. And these are businesses that we want to see in our communities. We want our communities to be busy and people to invest. And we'll be there to support, because ours is to work for the people and to make sure that every life gets improved, especially at community level. And not only are we talking about the loan and grants, the CDF also includes a component of skills training. And these are bursaries that we've thrown to our youths in the community.
Yeah, I was even coming to that. Of course, we want to know how many of those youths have actually benefited from these skills bursaries, so that we just don't hear skills bursaries on paper. We want practical figures to show that actually youths have benefited.
Yes, on that, if you came to the ward and did your own background check, you find information that we've enrolled over 150.
Wow.
Yes, over 150. Besides CDF empowerment or bursary schemes, we've had also a goodwill or corporate social responsibility by these trading schools who have come to our office and offered us free space away from CDF.
Wow.
Over 150 spaces for our youths. And the challenge has been the youths coming to our office, because we've spread the news to say, come and get empowered, be enrolled, bring the application, but we've not received positive response as expected. But we hope that as we go to 2023, we'll have a good number of our youths from our community to take up these opportunities and be empowered with skills. And I can tell you that when one gets a skill, it's very easy to adapt. It's very easy to access these grants and these loans, because the intention of this government is to make sure that the youths especially benefit. And this is a tool we want to use to detach our youths from engaging in criminal-related activities or drug abuse and just engaging themselves in illicit activities. And this is the tool that we are going to pound on and make sure that we encourage our youths. So we are taking advantage to visit churches in our community. We are also taking advantage to formulate community meetings, and we spread this news to our youths to make sure that they come on board and be able to be empowered.
You've spoken on the fact that you are enrolling in some of these youths. I think we did see a report in some constituencies where they were saying some of these youths who have been enrolled are abandoning and leaving, where they said about 100 youths had abandoned their training and have gone back on the streets to do only what they themselves know. Are you experiencing such also in your constituency, where among those you've enrolled, others have decided to leave?
I haven't received that report, but I'll be quick to comment that, you know, these are youths that have gotten used to activities that are quite illegal. And our focus, I remember we had an interview where I stretched a point that in as much as we are bringing these youths from the community, it's very important that we invest also in rehab centers, because we find that it's a mixture of youths, those that are into drugs and they're addicted in drugs, and those that are just used in maybe criminal activities and all that. And what we want is, if we are able to invest and bring home these rehab centers, I'm sure before we send our children or our youths to school or to attend these skills, they should go through a process of rehabilitation. Possibly that will also help and go a long way, because it's unfortunate that if we are able to give these opportunities to our youths and they shun in the middle of it, then how else do we help? So I think we should invest more in rehab centers.
Chakunkula Ward 37 Councillor Chimukan Jomona, of course, is joining us in studio today, and we are discussing the absorption of the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, 25.7 million that was allocated to Munali constituency. His ward has actually benefited from that, and so we are looking at how is it that it has been absorbed. If you are watching this program, you're coming from Chakunkula Ward 37, let's get to interact and hear what is happening in your area. Is what the councillor is saying actually on the ground? Are you seeing this happening? We give you an opportunity to make those submissions. You can call these numbers on the screen and we will be able to respond to those questions. If you're unable to call or you're having challenges with contacting us, this program is being streamed live on our Facebook page. You can send through a message and we will be able to respond to that message here in studio. This is your time to interact with your area councillor. Remember, Monday, Tuesday, we bring you these leaders to respond to some of these questions. And today is that day when we are hosting Chakunkula Ward 37. Let's talk about the skills bursaries. So far, the school bursaries, pardon me. So far, how many of the children are you supporting in your constituency under this one?
Okay, so under 22 CDF budget, for the school bursary scheme, we have so far supporting about 22 pupils. Again, it's a challenge where parents have not brought their children to be captured, and of course submitting their names. And just this quarter, we have received about 9 applicants, and it still remains a challenge. And I think we'll not relent. We'll continue encouraging parents, especially that we are getting into January, and a lot of grades. I'm sure those that are getting to grade 8 and boarding schools will have a lot of pupils coming on board. So we are anticipating that January will receive more application, given the fact that schools will be opened, and most of us, our pupils, our children, will qualify to those that were in grade 7 to grade 8, and those 9 to 10. So we expect that the number in this period probably might increase.
Do you have the capacity, in case you have a lot of these children apply for these bursaries? I know you've spoken to the fact that the issue has been that there is actually no pupil to support because parents are not bringing them to our offices. Supposing you get overwhelmed with applications, do you think you have the capacity to handle how much these parents will be looking for?
The capacity is there, and this is the intention, this is the vision of this government, to make sure that every pupil attends education. So the capacity is there. The willingness should be, government alone will make these pronouncements. And if we, the parents, are able to bring our pupils to benefit, then it will be a challenge. So we feel, we feel that if we work together with these parents, I think we are able, for us it's not the issue of capacity, it's the will and the vision that we have. And our vision is to make sure that every pupil or every child gets to be educated, especially in our community. So the capacity is there and the willingness is there. Yes.
I did remember when the Member of Parliament was flagging off the implementation of some of these projects. Quite a number of projects were mentioned in your constituency.
Exactly.
Yes, but 2022 has come to an end. So far we've seen one road has been done. What do you think has been the delay in working on other projects that resources were already allocated to?
I think, like area alluded to, the process has been, I think, with the technocrats. Okay, projects have been submitted, monies have been released, but where is the problem? So this is a concern that has come from the top leadership.
Yes, Councillor, what I mean actually is, these projects,
yes,
like when they were flagging off, you in your ward,
yes,
you did submit, they did mention how many roads were going to be worked on.
Yes.
And the minister did mention to say we've engaged the Zambia Army and they are starting work right away. Yes,
yes.
The Zambia National Service, and they are starting work right away.
Yes.
And money for that was already there. The minister did confirm that about 1.6 million had been allocated to doing the roads in Monali constituency. So far, only one road has been done in your constituency. So for those others that have not been done, what has been the reason why those projects have not yet been worked on? Have you made a follow-up as the area member of the councillor, just to understand that?
Like you've mentioned, these projects were given to ZNS. And the equipment that was allocated to Monali, it's the one that is doing all the works. So we've seen one road being done in Chakunkula, but at the same time, ZNS is implementing these projects simultaneously. They are also doing roads in Chainda, they are doing roads in Mutendele, they are doing roads in Monali ward, and in all these wards at the same time. So we believe that we resorted to use ZNS to cover up on time, because these are projects that were supposed to be implemented in the first quarter. But like we said, the issues of implementation, the process was a bit tedious. And we believe that come 2023, these projects will be done according to calendar, so that we work within the stipulated time. And this will of course enable us to see all these projects being done as intended and as budgeted for, because resources are there, monies are ready to be used. Projects, like we've said, we've highlighted, these projects have been submitted. And I can confirm with you that we had the issue of a police post, especially in Kamanga. The previous police post was demolished, vandalized
by community members.
the community members.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, and we've taken it up because this is one of the projects that was submitted, and I can tell you that 100% that was approved for us to have a new police post, and it's again a process to identify a contractor to do the construction of the police post.
But how can that be a problem if you just call for bidding? I'm sure you have about 100, of course, companies bidding just to do that project.
Yes, it's not a question of having 100 people to bid. Remember, the other policy that the government, the president has been quite strong about is empowering the local people. And what we want is let the locals be the ones to build and construct and to do these projects right in the community. We don't want a situation where someone coming from Lundazi, Solwezi to come and build a police post in Charleston or in Chakunkula Ward. What we want, our desire, is that let the local contractors get these jobs and be able to build the police. So that there is that ownership.
You don't have local contractors to do that if identification has been a challenge?
Not really identification, but again, this is a process, and I think it's just very cardinal that we seriously engage Lusaka City Council, who are the secretariat in the process of CDF, and of course at the same time these are the technocrats who are at the helm to see to it that these projects are done. And I think it's just normal that we need to take them to task and to make sure that these projects are done according to calendar. Personally, I see no reason why we should have these delays because monies are there. Projects have been identified. Why are we not implementing? So I think there should be a problem with our partners, Lusaka City Council. I'm sorry to say this, but I think that's where the delayment is. So we feel that our office, representing the local, the CDF committee, of course, at the helm, there's the Member of Parliament. We have Lusaka City Council, of course, the line ministry, local government. I think if we are to sit together, look at areas that are delaying the implementation of these projects, I think that will give us hope that come 2023, these projects will be done on time.
The willingness to involve local contractors, I know it has been topical and cardinal.
Yes.
And you've mentioned the fact that ZNS is the one doing this project, and you find that they are doing them simultaneously in different constituencies. Today they are in your constituency, tomorrow they have to be in Karingalinga, the other day they have to be in Mtendere, the other day they have to be... Do you think also there is need to engage other contractors when it comes to implementing these roads? Because going into 2023, remember we still have a huge backlog of resources that have not been utilized.
True.
And the first quarter of 2023, government needs to release the CDF for 2023. And of course, we know it has been increased now to about 28.3 million in 2023, meaning the money has even gone up.
Yes.
So do you think maybe there is also need to divert or rather diversify and engage other contractors apart from ZNS to do the work? Or maybe are you satisfied with the work and the pace at which ZNS is going? Maybe there is just some other panel beating that we need to do to ensure that projects are moving.
Personally, I will tell you that we will not divert from the focus and the intention of the CDF. The intention and the focus is to empower the locals, okay? And if we see ZNS, of course they're doing a good job, right on time. And I was meant to believe that the engagement of ZNS was basically to catch up on time because these projects have delayed. So we talked of the process to identify a contractor, a process to look at the locals who can do these jobs. But looking at the period, I think it was so, the period was quite squeezed and we needed the support of ZNS. So I think I'm in support that this year we had to resort to use ZNS. However, I believe that would have gone an extra mile to perhaps within the contracting of ZNS for them to subcontract the local contractors. For them, I know it's a process, but they will use this process to, of course, to gain experience and also to learn on how to do certain jobs. But come next year, I believe that most of these roads will be done by our local contractors. Of course, with the support of ZNS, because what we want is to inculcate these values and this kind of workmanship in our youths and the local people. So if we can learn and tap from how ZNS is doing things, I think we'll go a long way as a world and as a nation. We have so many roads in Chakunkula, so many roads, and these are roads that have not been done. No work has been done. If you take a trip around Charleston, you find that the state of these roads are quite worrying. They are in a very bad state, and we feel that these are opportunities, of course, for these local-based contractors to tap in. And we await, because it's not the councillor to come up with roads or projects to be done in a given area. It's you, the community, who are supposed to attend these zonal meetings where each time we call upon meetings, so that you come on board and identify these roads. And you are the community who are supposed to do these projects. It's not the councillor, it's not the president, it's not the government. Government will give you the money to run these projects. Ours is just to facilitate the process. So we look forward that 2023 will be quite busy, especially for Chakunkula, because we want to turn it around and make it change the face of our community. That's our desire.
Paradise.
Yes, that's our job. That's why we are voted in, to work for the people, and we will work for the people.
Chakunkula Ward 37 Councillor Chimukan Jomuna is, of course, joining us in studio today, and we are discussing the absorption of the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, in Chakunkula Ward. What projects so far have they done to ensure that we have proof that CDF is actually not as calm as has been purported by some sector of society? The application process of bursary skills, others have complained it's quite a tedious process. Let's get to hear what is your comment with regards to that, and how is it that you're going to advocate that it is improved going into 2023, so that we don't have people fail to benefit from this because the application process is quite tedious.
Yes, I've received reports from members of the community, and I can confirm that having gone through the application forms, there are sections that are difficult to understand.
Let me cut you. I think we have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm okay.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from, then you can go ahead with your submissions.
Yeah, I'm a regular caller.
All right, please go ahead with your submissions.
Good morning, Councillor.
Good morning, sir. Merry Christmas and compliments of the season.
Yeah, we are good.
Thank you.
Now, your narration in terms of how you want to take development in your area is quite brilliant. But no, you guys, so for me to say this, you are good at talking, but implementation, there is so much talk in terms of CDF. That when you do the survey on each and every constituency, nothing will happen. Because when you talk of our implementation, you are cancer, and the technocrats from the Ministry of Local Government, you are supposed to work together. But when you conduct the survey out, say from the roads, they are quite dilapidated, and people are really breaking to say, if we say no, that's why we are voted into power. But you know, there are so many expressions which has come out from the people's expectation to what we are talking about. There's so much more. So sometimes people can at least implement and do some works. Because there are certain things which we cannot really say until the country talks about. People we talk a bit of productivity, but the time of implementation is really high. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that contribution, sir. United Party for National Development, UPND administration has been criticized to be good at talking while implementation is not being seen. This is why we invited the councillor for Chakunkula Ward 37 in Monali constituency here in Lusaka to explain to us what projects they've so far done in their constituency, so that CDF is not just a talk, but we can see the work. Chakunkula Ward Councillor, Chimukanjomona, yes. You've been challenged to say, UPND, you talk a lot. You are talking, at least you are talking, he admits the fact that you are talking a lot of things that are making sense, but we've seen a lot of talks under UPND, but implementation has not been done.
You're the media. You're our partners.
Of course.
Yes. You are the ones to attest if it's just talks and talks. But I'm sure you bear witness that you've gone round, especially the city of Lusaka, and you've seen these projects happening. So not only are we talking about the CDF implementation programs, but we also have challenges in these communities that are off the CDF implementation or framework. We have a water supply issue, which has been a challenge, especially in Kamanga and other areas in Monali constituency. But I can tell you that just a few weeks ago, our Member of Parliament, Honorable Mikey Mposha, was in Kalikiliki to actually launch the new water supply that was done there. So these are one of the many projects that are being implemented. So our focus is not just on roads and other areas of need in our communities, and this is what we are doing. Talk of peace, restoration of peace, cadalism. So these things that we've managed, and also, of course, the spirit of inclusiveness. Just yesterday, we had issues where people were finding it hard to access the offices of the councillors, offices of the earlier Member of Parliament. It was quite difficult. And once these people candidates were voted into office, they were nowhere to be seen. But this time around in the new Dawn government, I believe that when you come to Chakunkula, when you come to Monali, our offices are right in the community. We are every time and then with the community. Ours is to be with the community because we believe the challenges that are faced in these communities, these are our challenges. And we are there with the people and working together with the people. And we are making sure that we keep an eye to these challenges and monitor that they are being implemented. So we talk of crime rates, okay? Crime rates, this is an area, an issue that has affected our ward. We've not been spared. The issue to do with junkies. And I'm glad to also inform you that my office is in very perfect relation with our police, Charleston Police Command. And we are working hand in hand, 24/7. And we have also gone ahead to establish neighborhood watch groups. So these are plans that we believe that if we can establish these groupings in our community, they will help to run patrols on daily basis, day and night, and we believe that this will go a long way to mitigate the crimes that we've seen in the recent past. This, of course, will go in line with establishment of police posts in these selected areas where we feel if we have the presence of the police, it will surely help and cushion the crime rates that we've seen. And I'm glad that the police have been going around. Of course, it's a challenge that we've had in times where possibly they have no equipment or support. And what we can say and lobby for is possibly from our cooperating partners, stakeholders, to come on board and support our police service in terms of mobility. What we want is for this neighborhood watch and our police command working together, of course, with our office to make sure that we are everywhere in our community to safeguard the members of the community, because the crime rate, it's something that we cannot ignore. It's something that we want to invest in, and making sure that our community becomes a safe place for our people.
Before we received that caller, you were speaking to the point of the tedious process that comes with applying for bursaries under the Constituency Development Fund. How are you advocating to ensure that the process is made easier going into 2023?
Yes, like I was saying, I'm privy to the content, and there are sections that are quite difficult to understand. Okay, and if at my level I'm able to find it hard to fill up certain sections, what more someone who has not been to school? Like I earlier said, the intention of this CDF or this policy is to help the least of those that are in our community, the vulnerable in our community, the women and youths who have not been to school, because this is all inclusive, and those are our target. So if we have a process that is questionable in certain areas, I'm sure this is a listening government, and I'm glad we have a very supporting and listening local government minister, and I'm sure they will look into this matter, where we'll possibly, I don't know how the process, how long it can take, but this is something that will be received, and I can assure you that changes will be made. And on top of that, we have the area also concern of the church. Okay, the church has not been included in the CDF process. My interaction with the many churches that I've visited is that they want to also have a stake and be able to be empowered. I would support that view, because I believe that a church is a very strong and cardinal stakeholder, especially that these churches are dotted right in the heart of our communities, and they are able to support on moral development and also to help on what we've seen in the recent part where there is so much increase in moral decay in our communities. So with the church, I feel if, I don't know how it can be done, but it's a thought that has come, and we feel if we can include them in the CDF, where the church, they'll design their own package on how to implement or how to use these CDF funds, I think will not fold hands, but will be able to support.
Don't you think the church should be sensitizing members on how they can form cooperatives and benefit? Because I hope if church members begin to benefit from CDF, from the resources that they'll be making and stuff like that, they'll be able to support the growth of these institutions. Don't you think maybe the church should be speaking to encouraging their members to form cooperatives, to get loans and apply for CDF, rather than the church itself directly getting involved in these resources? Don't you think in the end it's going to bring a lot of confusion? And then also, if people realize that churches now have access to CDF, don't you think we are going to have this mushrooming number of churches that will be formed just for the sake of benefiting from CDF?
It's a thought that has come. We are trying to analyze. And it's not just from one church, but every church that we visit, everyone will tell you their desire on how the church can benefit. And when we are invited in these churches, the focus most will be fundraising, possibly for church building or construction. And that shows that possibly there are challenges with the church to meet the demands that comes with developing this church, establishing these churches. So there's that component. But we still have the members. And our message has been, if the church members, and these are the same community members that we have, if they can come on board and access these empowerment programs under the CDF, I think, like you are saying, it will be able to mitigate and help the challenges that these churches are facing. But this is a thought that the authority can look into. If it's possible that the church can be included, let it be. If it's not possible, if there are other alternatives on how we can help these churches around that are dotted within our communities, I think it's welcome. Ours is to speak for our people, what they want, and also to implement government policies to the communities.
Zonal meetings, I know you have spoken to the part of these zonal meetings. How is it that you are doing it as a community to sensitize them on why they should attend these zonal meetings? Because maybe when you talk about zonal meetings, people will just be thinking these are meetings that are specifically supposed to be maybe attended by WDCs. So how are you going in the community to tell people for them to attend these zonal meetings?
Okay, so the zonal meetings, they are structured in a way that they are not political in nature. Yes, and this is why if you look at the composition of the WDC, it touches, we have presentation from police, we have a presentation from the church, from schools, from these other ministries, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Education, and it's a whole lot of a full pack. Okay, so when we call for zonal meetings, there is no political affiliation. These are meant for the community themselves to gather and give us their views, whatever challenges they are facing. And when they do that, we minute those submissions. And those are the minutes that we submit also to the CDF committee through the Secretariat, and that's Lusaka City Council. So these meetings, to start with, we engage private individuals or individuals to go around and sensitize. It's now that we've initiated a route where we have to write to individuals in the given zone. And we have zone leaders in these dotted zones that we have in our wards. So each leader has a responsibility to make sure that the attendance is well or done by way of sensitizing the locals or people that are within that zone.
Chakunkula Ward 37 Councillor Chumukan Jomona, of course, is joining us, and we're discussing the absorption of the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, in Chakunkula Ward 37 in Monali, here in Lusaka. As we come to the dying end of our interview, Councillor, what is your word to your members out there and everyone who's watching this program? I'm giving you some few minutes to summarize your thoughts.
Okay, so Chakunkula is quite wide. And our attention or focus is not just on Kamanga. We have Kamanga itself, we have Charleston, and we have Zambia Airways. These areas, they have great potential, especially for the members, the business and contractors that are in Chakunkula Ward. My appeal is, where you are, identify who your zone leader is and be able to interact with these zonal leaders, submit what you can do, because the intention of government is to empower you. And if you not come on board, it will be very difficult for government to follow you. So we appeal to the members in our ward to come on board. To the youths, we have a good number of skills that you can benefit. And the trading schools are there, they are open, and these are meant to empower you. So you come through the WDC offices, of course through our office, and we'll be able to usher you in and help you through the process. And of course, like we mentioned earlier on, the process itself, the application and everything, we are trying to look at ways on how we can cut short on the bureaucracy so that the implementation of these projects can be done timely. And I, of course, agree partly to what our caller mentioned on the slow on the implementation. Of course, it's just the process, but the focus and the intention of this government is to make sure that we change the lives of our people. And in Chakunkula also, like I mentioned, there are roads that have not been done in 2022. Come 2023, these are projects that, of course, we've already received submission to the few roads that have been earmarked for development. But other roads that we have not received submission, this is where we are saying, when we call upon zonal meetings, please attend and we'll be able to receive. And Prudence, there is a road, a key road, that is a district road. This is a road that branches from Engine Filling Station, from the Great East Road, and it goes all the way to Kalimba Farms. That road, if you drive through that road, it's become a hazard. And of course, it's raised concerns. We did engage the Lusaka City Council through our office, and we are working together with the area member of parliament to make sure that we patch up that road. It has come, if you drove there today, you'll see that it's in a very bad state. So I'm calling upon the Lusaka City Council Engineering Department. I know we've had conversation with the Director Engineering, but we want to re-emphasize that can we get on the ground and make sure that we do that road. I'm not happy that we have to call upon Lusaka City Council every now and then. They know what they're supposed to do. And ours, I think we'll just take them on board and make sure that this week we begin those works to patch up that roads. I've received a lot of complaints that the slowness in terms of implementation. And I think this is the issue that I think we need to look into. And we are calling upon the implementers, the technocrats from Lusaka City Council to up their game. I think as we come to towards the end of this year, come 2022, we want, I think, people to be on their toes, to work. Let's work for the people. We are voted to deliver. And with this new donor government, we all need his support and to also support our president, because the vision that he has, the intention that he has is to help, especially the least in our community. So this is no longer partisan. Our office is wide open. We are implementing actually the open door policy. Unlike the way it was in the previous governments where people were finding it hard to access these offices, our office is open to everyone. You can come through so that we develop our community together. The councillor cannot develop this community in a vacuum. We call for your support. As a community, if we work together, we'll change the face of Chakonkola. So thank you so much. May God bless each one of you. I know we are in the dying hours of 2022, but let's celebrate with full responsibility. Every life counts, and it sends very sad news, I think, from the headlines where legal connection and all that. We are having those problems, challenges, even in our wards, where we've received reports of illegal power connections. So I think if our people can follow legal procedures in doing things, I think we'll save a lot of lives. It's very unfortunate, Prudence, that we can lose lives in such scenarios. But I wish my community, I wish the nation a happy Christmas and a prosperous 2023. Thank you so much. May God bless you all.
Chakonkola Ward 37 Councillor Chemukanjomona was joining us in studio today. He has made a good conclusion that I wouldn't love to add or subtract. Let's be responsible even as we enjoy into New Year. If you get overexcited, you will only see the land, but you will not enter it. Let's be responsible even as we enjoy 2022. It has been a pleasure being with you. For everyone who's been watching us, following us on different platforms on our Facebook page, I've seen Buana Sinjela there sending that, of course, right up. We appreciate your viewership. AJ, Miriam Kayamba there, Elijah Chifita, I know you're watching in the comfort of your bedroom. Thank you so much for watching Camnet TV. This has been The Breakfast Show. Till next time, it's God bless you. Bye for now from the entire Camnet TV crew. It has been a wonderful day to be with you. God bless you. Bye for now.
Thank you.